Hi there, and welcome to the latest flipped history video. This video has 4 learning intentions. The first learning intention is to indicate the factors that contributed to industrialization. The success criteria is I can indicate the factors that contributed to industrialization. The second learning intention is to indicate facts about industrial development. The success criteria is I can indicate the sources of energy, the division of labor, and the means of production. The third learning intention is to indicate the factors that contributed to urbanization. The success criteria is I can indicate the factors that contributed to urbanization. And the final learning intention is to explain the characteristics of capitalism and how it contributed to industrialization. The success criteria is I can explain capitalism and how it contributed to industrialization. There are a number of causes of industrialization. The first was an improvement in technology, specifically this device here, which is the steam engine of James Watt. Steam engine really allowed mechanization to occur in factories. The source of power for this engine is coal, which is burnt, then created steam which pushed the pistons. This allowed large machines to be created, also locomotives. Now, the cause was a supply of cheap labor. So the overpopulation that happened in Lower Canada just continued on, and there was an abundance of people willing to work in factories. So this labor came very cheap, which allowed factories to expand. Now, industrialization meant that more and more things could be made every day. So if we take the example of shoes here, which were produced in large numbers in Montreal. In fact, Montreal was the largest provider of shoes for all of North America. Where before, in maybe the 1830s, a craftsman might be able to make 10 pairs of shoes a day. Now, an unskilled laborer using machines can make 300 pairs a day. So there was a number of different goods that were made in Canada and Quebec. One, like I mentioned before, shoes. We also had tobacco factories. That's this one here on the right. And then in our neck of the woods, the timber industry became more and more mechanized. So we had large sawmills and lumber factories developed here in the Ottawa Valley. So one of the other effects of industrialization that goes along with it is urbanization. So, for example, we start to get the rise of big cities, Montreal being the prime example in Canada. Montreal was Canada's largest city from the 1800s well into the 1960s and 70s, when it was only then surpassed by Montreal. So these large cities developed because people moved in from the countryside looking for work in these factories. Along with urbanization came all kinds of services that had to cater to the people that moved to these cities. So not only do we get large population, but we get more and more stores, grocery stores, all kinds of businesses providing services and goods for the people that live there. Also, if you look in this picture, right down the main street are railway tracks, so those would be for streetcars that would help transport people around these big cities and also get people to and from work. Now, another consequence of urbanization is the development of different types of neighborhoods. And so this example here would have been a working class neighborhood. This is where the people that worked in the factories would have lived. It would have been poor, the streets wouldn't have been paved, sanitation would have been very poor. But on the other hand, we get upper middle class and even neighborhoods for the rich. So in Montreal, there's the Golden Mile and Mount Royal, Westmount. In Ottawa, Rockcliffe Park developed. These are where the rich and the well-off lived. Now, the cultural concept is also an economic one, is capitalism. This goes along with industrialization. So the goal of capitalism is to maximize profit. And the profit goes to individuals, private businesses. They control the means of production. So these private individuals are the ones that own the factories. They make the investments. They control them. Now, the consequences or some of the cultural expressions of capitalism is the wealthy, right? This is the Red Path mansion in Montreal, absolutely enormous. This Redpath was a sugar baron. He controlled sugar production in Canada, and sugar is an ingredient that goes into almost all foods, right? A way of expressing this is big financial institutions like banks, or in this case, this is an example of the Sun Life Financial Building in Montreal. So just imagine this building being constructed right around the turn of the century. It absolutely dominates the landscape, and it's big, and it is a manifestation of their power. Well, that's it for this video. Thanks for watching. And after you're done going over your notes, please consider this essential question. How did economic development accelerate the growth of Canada?